This is again, a hostage rescue situation with the Los Angeles Police Department. So just the first couple of seconds of the video, we watched a couple of officers make entry, tripping over kids' toys or something that's impeding their smooth movement on the entry. Yeah, the reality is things on the floor, a slippery floor, water, anything that could compromise our balance is a factor. Now, how do you train for that? Being situationally aware is what I refer to as, we live in a three-dimensional world, so it's a 720 security check, right? It's not just for people, but for obstacles. So when we make entry, at the outside of the threshold, that's really the only thing that we can control. So make an entry. Once we make entry, we are on a reactive mode based on what the subject on the inside are planning or doing. We don't know. So what we can be cognizant of is when we make entry, we want our stacks to be tight and fluid. So as the door opens, when we look, we want to be able to see. All right, so that sounds novice, but like you just saw there, two officers tripped and fell, lost their footing. And that critical time in opportunity could be advantageous for the subject. So being able to look and see before we move, so we maintain and sustain an element of balance, so we could take a critical surgical shot if needed, is important.
During the standoff, Anderson moved the hostage to a window overlooking the street and was observed pointing a handgun at her head. SWAT officers immediately forced entry into the apartment, and an officer-involved shooting occurred.
He's got a gun to someone's head.
What?
Look.
Shut the fuck up.
Or a knife.
Oh, fuck.
So, this is a third person's point of view from what looks like an adjacent building. You want to be a good Samaritan. You want to do something positive to help sort this problem out. Instead of being there with a camera and a phone in hand to try to capture this, put the phone down, run downstairs, communicate to the police officers that you have a great vantage point and you could potentially get a sniper sharpshooter into that position. Being a good Samaritan, we all have an obligation to help police officers and help the good. This would be a great opportunity for that person to put the phone down, go downstairs, communicate to police officers, hey, this is what I see. And then they could formulate a plan to deal with this. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see a couple of officers that have what looks to me like they circled in behind the subject. And then there's a few other officers still coming in through what I think is the primary entry point, so the main door to the residence. So thinking about the potential of a blue on blue or a crossfire, a consideration is right now what I see is the subject is on his knees. So not as much of a threat, still have that ability of the chance of a crossfire. So as we move into a position to go hands-on with someone, knowing that there is potential of gunfire, we can do what's referred to as changing the angle of attack, where if, for example, we were to take a knee and the trajectory of the firearm would be more on a 45 degree up, this will give us higher probable chance of success if we need to shoot the subject, but also with mitigating the chances of a level blue on blue or crossfire. So just changing the angle.
Oh shit!
And then at the end of it, you see the officers separate the hostage and get her out of there as soon as possible, which is a good call. You can imagine how traumatized she would be, depending on how much blood and guts could be all over the place. The sooner you can separate her, check her safety, and ensure her well-being, and get her out of that situation, the better it is for everybody. So well done there. The layout of the premises had looked pretty wide open. So being able to, they had a lot of officers on the ground, being able to saturate that space and really open up their arcs for each other will help not only get a quality arc on the subject who is armed, but also it will mitigate the chances of blue on blue, but also allow an officers to your left and to your right to move and operate. So overall, well done in my perspective.